Greetings. I'm Rick Jarvis, past commander of the DAV Department of Minnesota. The primary source of revenue for DAV in Minnesota is household donations, mostly clothing. As you heard earlier, the program had a major setback this year when COVID hit. Donations slowed down when bins were closed, drop-off points were closed, and in some cases, operations were completely shut down. It caused a huge backup of product. Our community service project's limitations affected our regular donors as they were doing a quarantine cleaning and had nowhere to bring their donations. Rest assured, our DAV leadership is resilient. We are looking forward to remaining optimistic about the future. Here to provide an update of the household donation program and enterprise operation is Director of Operations, Josh.
Greetings, comrades, friends, advocates, supporters of the DAV in Minnesota. I'm going to do a brief presentation and update with the enterprise and clothing program. This is a little odd for me because normally I'm a little bit interactive with the crowd, so I'll do my best here looking at the camera. So 2020, I'm not going to go into the pandemic and COVID. I'm sure everybody's tired of hearing that. One thing I do want to say is it's been a interesting ride, and it really points out how interconnected everything is. How legislative activities in Africa and India impact what's going on in the ground in Cloquet. It's been a enlightening ride so far, I guess. I don't know if it's positive or negative, but that's what we got. So this year, per our contract, was supposed to be the heaviest year on record. We were going to bring in more than we've ever done before. I think to the tune of a $250,000 pounds more than we did in our heaviest year. That obviously is not happening. We'll be lucky to get half of that. Like I said, we've been doing our best to get things going when we can, but there are challenges all over due to the foot traffic at the retail stores, the international trade, what have you, has really impacted demand for our items. Therefore, we're not finding nearly the places to put our clothing that we normally would. I think right now we're at about 40 to 45% of what we would normally be bringing in this time of year, which is better than we've been doing a couple of months ago, but still far off from where we want to be. Again, we're mostly operating at a normal pace, I guess. Everything's rolling. All of our metro stuff's rolling. Most of the chapters are going. We're still loading trailers here and there. So everything's moving. Everything's working correctly, just at a much reduced area. Interruption with online systems. That was a kind of a big hit. So we didn't have the ability to pay our chapters for a while. And again, technology, I'm not exactly sure what happened there, but it was a total system failure. Most of that's up now. One thing that isn't up is the reporting that we used to do. I used to be able to run reports for all the chapters. You give me a call and I'd be able to run everything that you guys had done for a period of time. That's gone right now. I do have Kyle and Stephanie working on a solution, but as of this time, I don't have that capability to run those kind of reports anymore. We do have we are tracking what the chapters are doing in the short term. We are able to process the payments and everything's running pretty much on schedule that way. But some of the other reports that I've been able to produce in the past, I lost that capability. So we'll stand by for an update there, but as of now, that's kind of where we sit. Increased trailers. Some of the stores, Duluth, Rochester, Apple Valley, Woodbury, still are self-sufficient. They're not really taking anything from our metro crew or the chapters. That said, I have been able to square away a few trailers up in the Iron Range. I think the Iron Range is probably where we're having the most problems right now, just because everybody's used to going to that Duluth store and they haven't taken anything since March. So hopefully that changes here in the near future. We'll see. I'll keep everybody posted when I get information. Staffing and customer traffic, again, with my weekly updates with Savers, that's been their biggest thing. Processing what's coming in through the doors, staff turnover, this whole COVID thing's been ugly for the labor market and across the board. So starting up, they had some problems there. That still seems to be the case to some degree, but it is getting better and better. Simple Recycling, again, with them right now, as of today, we've loaded about half the trailers that I intended to load here at the beginning of the year when I did my budget, which is completely out the window at this point. Some other things that are going on. So since we haven't been able to meet for quite some time, I thought it would be wise to give everybody an update as I could. So since June, every week I've sent out a update so your chapters can make prudent decisions with your programs in your respective areas. I hope that you're getting that. If you're not, if for some reason that is not getting distributed, talk to your leadership. I've been sending it to all commanders, adjutants, and about halfway through we added senior vice commanders just to try to get a distribution out there. So if you haven't seen that, I apologize, but it has been going out, so please address that when you meet with the chapter again. Make sure your leadership is sharing the information that comes out. Most of it is electronic via email. I've tried to give guidance here, but the situation is that all the chapters have different operational styles. Some have trailers, trucks, some have box trucks, some have different amounts of volunteers, some have 1 bin out, some have 20 bins out. So I had a hard time really giving a blanket instruction that, hey, everybody do this and you'll be fine. Frankly, that I can't do that because everybody does it a little bit differently. So I did my best to try to give guidance. I hope that was helpful. And as we go down the road here and things start to correct a little bit more and a little bit more, we should be getting back to normal. I'm actually looking forward to not putting out those weekly updates anymore because hopefully we'll be back to for normal operations and I won't need to any longer. Like most businesses, our program experienced changes. Like I said, things that happen nationally and globally do have an impact. We run a business like any other business. Our product is secondhand textiles. There is a supply and demand curve for that kind of stuff, and as the supply went up, demand went down. Nobody was shopping. In a nutshell, I'm not going to get too technical there, but that's what happened. There was excess in supply. Demand was plummeting. Therefore, everybody was stuck holding on to everything, and that's how she went. Revenues are down. I'm glad to see some of the chapters getting some revenue flows again. I think almost all of our chapters now have been able to do something, but they're down significantly. I think, like I said, right now we're at about 40 to 45% currently in September, end of September, early October, that I would expect in a normal year at this point. All right, some positive news. I don't want to be all doom and gloom here, but some positive news. Last year at this time when I was addressing the floor at Fall Conference, we rolled out our intention to incorporate some of the national PSAs onto our donation bin design. We did that. On the slide here I've got up. One of them, the first picture with the snow, is Chapter 13 Grand Rapids. Their bins out there. Those are the Malacca bins, and then the other picture is Rochester Chapter 28, Mayo Southeast. Those are the two of the units that were manufactured by the Rochester manufacturer. So they are out. We've got about 25, 30 bins out about throughout the state of Minnesota. But that's what they look like there with some of the national PSAs. We thought it would give a kind of a personal touch where the donors would come up and it wouldn't just be a metal box asking for stuff. It would be kind of a little story if they wanted to sit there and read it, and a little bit more of a personal appeal to our donors throughout Minnesota. Again, just the dimensions. Both of the models are fairly similar, other than the overall cost. But if any chapters have any questions or anything about the bins or the cost or anything like that, please feel free to get a hold of me. You reach out to me. I'm pretty responsive in email. So yeah, I try to be open with everything that's going on. So don't be afraid to ask me any questions. So I just want to touch on this. I know that we haven't had an opportunity to do anything with these bags, and I had gotten a few reports back earlier in the year after last year's conference that although we tried to enhance the quality, there's still those fin seal bags are still packaged, so they are a little bit delicate. I've heard that you don't want to fill them much more than half full. And be very careful when it's cold out. Don't put all kinds of air in there. But we did distribute the 50,000 bags last year about this time. Our intent was to distribute another 50,000 this year at this time, assuming that the chapters would go through and need them. Since that's not happening, if anybody, once we do start getting rolling, want to do clothing drives with churches and schools and whatnot, if you need more, let me know, because I still have half of our order sitting there waiting, ready to go. We didn't want to give them all out at one time. We thought that would be foolhardy. So I do have about 50,000 bags still in storage. So if any of your chapters is going out and using those, which was the intent, let me know when you need a refresh, and we'll get you squared away somehow. Okay. So where are we going? So a couple of things here. One is I try to keep up to date with the industry and what's going on, and all signs point to the next 5 years being pretty phenomenal in the industry to use textiles, to the tune of quite a huge percentage increase overall in thrift stores and overseas markets and everything like that. So I do think that our fundraising program will continue to be successful into the future. The one thing that we didn't do is mess around with the chapter rates. As I put out earlier this year, one of our vendors, due to the lack of demand, did decide to change or reduce our rates per pound. We did not consider changing the chapter rates. So all the chapter rates stayed the same, even though the department rates were fluctuating to some degree. So I thought that was a pretty positive thing for the chapters and units. Long-term outlook, again, seems to be very, very good. And I do suspect that, within the next 6-8 months, we should be back to relatively normal operations where we don't have to worry as much about the muzzle that we currently are dealing with. And that's pretty much it for my presentation here today. I hope all is well. Again, it's been an interesting year. If anybody has any questions, comments, concerns, again, I know that everybody's situation is a little bit different, so don't be afraid to reach out to me directly. That's what I'm here for, to help the chapters through their issues. So please don't be afraid. If you don't know, my email address is my first name, Josh, Josh, @davmn.org. That's josh@davmn.org. Thank you very much, and enjoy the remainder of your 2020.